What's up, beautiful? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Kat. This is my channel, and I have been gone for a hot minute. So much so that it took all night to charge both of the batteries on this camera. Yeah, so hi, I missed you. Did you miss me? Yeah, so since my son has been born, I haven't done a video. I have been trying to adjust to everything, but I thought what better way to come back to YouTube, which I honestly wasn't sure I was gonna do at all, but the more I thought about it, the more I wasn't ready to let 10 years of my life just die. So I thought what better way than to come back with a life update video, and it is amazing to me how I remembered my intro and all of my stuff and how to work all of my things. This feels like riding a bike. I'm happy to be back. I'm not sure how frequently I'll be able to post videos. It will not be the like every Wednesday video, but be sure to follow me on Instagram because I'm gonna try to start posting more regularly, but that is where I went ahead and asked what questions you have of me. So that's where we're gonna go from here. The first few things I wanna talk about are, of course, the end of the pregnancy, the delivery, and how postpartum has been so far. If you are triggered by birth trauma or anything of that nature, please feel free to skip ahead to whatever marker this is over yonder. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So for those that were not aware, I had a very difficult, I would say traumatic pregnancy. It was arguably the worst experience of my entire life. I love my son. I'm so happy he's here. He's the light of my life. But bringing him into this world was the worst thing I've ever gone through, medically speaking, for a variety of reasons that are too personal to share on the internet. But I discussed a few of them in the update video that I did last time I have various health concerns that make being pregnant difficult. So I'm not gonna get into all of those, but the end of my pregnancy was particularly difficult due to the reflux that I had and I mean the general discomfort of being 9 months pregnant, right? Nobody's comfortable at the end. I also have a history of blood clots in my lungs, and we determined the safest thing for both of us would be to induce. So I'm gonna try to go through the birth, delivery experience as quickly as possible for those that are not interested, but also because I don't particularly want to rehash a lot of it. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be, but it was definitely not something I like to sit and think about. In fact, I was thinking about filming this video last night and I had to stop thinking about it because I was starting to spiral. Basically on the 24th of, I almost said September, the 24th of July, we went to the hospital for an evening induction, and I was pretty glad that I had waited basically until then to do cervical checks because they were extremely painful for me. I had refused them up until I basically couldn't anymore, and overnight we did start induction medicines and they were not working. So we had a nurse shift change at 7 a.m. and I went from a nurse that was brand new to the ward, brand new to nursing, OBG nursing, and I got switched to a woman with 42 years experience. That woman kicked things into high gear, and in an hour I went from half a centimeter dilated to 4 centimeters dilated, and my water broke on its own. It was like the movies where you sit up and it just, I was like, I'm pretty sure my water just broke, and the nurse comes in, she goes, yep, that's it, let's get you changed. She was wonderful. This nurse was absolutely wonderful. She literally like saved me. She explained everything that was going on and explained why it was happening and answered all of my questions and helped me breathe through all of it and work through all of it. I got an epidural at 4 centimeters. I do not know how women for millennia have done birth without epidurals. Could I have done it? Probably. But if you did birth without an epidural, you are superhuman as far as I'm concerned. I do not know how people do that, but I got mine at 4 centimeters. It was not a bad experience, but we got the epidural and then it worked on both sides. My nurse kept flipping me positions every 30 minutes or so and I progressed relatively quickly. And then I stalled for 6 hours at 9.5 centimeters. That was not fun. And unfortunately, I stalled out right, like my incredible nurse had to go off shift right before I delivered. So she went off shift at 7. I delivered my son at 9:30 at night. So I had just missed shift change. The new nurse that came in, while she was great, was not as great as the first one. Gave me more pushback on my birth plan, and I did end up pushing and delivering on my back, which was the one position I did not want to do. When the original nurse that was so wonderful had promised me that the position I wanted, which was side laying, which can dramatically reduce tearing, would be possible. And this other nurse that helped me deliver my son said she'd never seen anybody deliver on their side. She had no idea what I was talking about, could not figure out how to get me into the right position, blah, blah, blah. So I ended up delivering on my back and getting a 2nd-degree tear, which is pretty normal, unfortunately, for women in America. But I only pushed for about an hour. I could not have done it without my husband. He held my shoulders and helped me lift up and bear down, which was another thing I did not want to do. It just kind of happened the way it happened, and it is what it is. My son is here. We're both fine. I did get some trauma from that. I don't know, I just try not to think about it too much. It does not affect my day-to-day life, and it's not something I'm ever gonna do again. So it's just something I'm trying to work through. And yeah, so my doctor also did not deliver my son. She went off shift at 5 p.m. The doctor that delivered my son was my doctor's doctor, which made me feel better, but she also did not listen to my birth plan exactly on what I wanted, and it was for no reason other than she was busy, and that was not a good enough reason for me. The good thing was the head of the maternity ward came in the next morning, and she wanted to know how my experience was, and I just laid it out for her. I told her everything that I did not appreciate, that did not go my way, but I would say my experience was like an 8 or 9 out of 10 as far as like, for someone with huge phobias of pregnancy and huge like nervousness and anxiety about delivering and being pregnant, it went about as good as I expected. Buddy was born at 9:30 and we stayed for 48 hours at the hospital. The postpartum care was wonderful at the hospital. We had, actually the nurse that delivered him was my postpartum nurse for most of the time as well. And she was wonderful at that, I'll tell you that. She was really, all of the nurses were wonderful. It was just that they did not want to do what I wanted to do, which none of what I wanted was like insane to ask for. The other thing that happened was my whole pregnancy, I had vertical sleeve gastrectomy, so I have a 20% stomach capacity from a normal person. I did eat while I was delivering. I did eat while I was in labor. That was one thing I was not willing to budge on, and I'm glad I did because I would not have had the energy to push without it. I did throw up after I delivered, but I think that was literally the hormones and the adrenaline crash. It had nothing to do with like, you know, I wasn't gonna choke on my own vomit, aspirate, and die, which is why they don't want you to eat while you're delivering. Is in the event of a C-section, they don't want you to aspirate, which is all just nonsense. And if you look at the research, it shouldn't matter anymore, as far as I'm concerned. But of course, I am not a doctor, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. We were worried my whole pregnancy that he was gonna be small because I have a small stomach capacity. They said he was gonna be between 7 and 8 pounds. He was almost 9 pounds. He was 8 pounds, 15 ounces. So we were a little bit shocked at how big he was. Literally, the baby nurse weighed him. She comes over and hands him back to me and says, 8 pounds, 15 ounces. And I literally said, are you effing kidding me? And she looked like really shocked. Like, I had just sweared at a total stranger, but of course I wasn't exactly in my right mind. But she was like, do you want me to weigh him again to check? And I was like, no, I'm not doubting you. Like, I'm not doubting you. I'm just surprised. So yeah, he was, an average sized baby is like 7 to 8 pounds. So he wasn't like that much bigger. It was just a shock because I was really expecting like a 6 or 7 pound baby. And he has held on to that. He is really long. He's still in his 70 something percentiles. When he was born, his weight was 91 percentile. He's a big chicken, as we call him. For some reason, we ended up with the chicken nickname. He's the chicken. That is all done. We went home after 48 hours, and really it hasn't been that crazy. So I guess like transitioning into the postpartum experience, I don't know. I think that some people really, really struggle with postpartum, and that you have every right to feel every feeling that you're feeling while you're postpartum. And I had plenty of moments where I've been like, I've lost it. The biggest one, of course, is like the hormone dump that you have a few days after you give birth. I'm fine. Like I just like had a panic attack, right? I had stitches in places that stitches should never go. So I was just, you know, you're uncomfortable. It takes like 10 minutes to just pee. And it was just like, I lost it for, you know. But other than a couple of those moments, like we adjusted really, really quickly. We're very, very blessed. We have 2 sets of retired parents to assist us. And my in-laws basically raised my nieces and nephews, my 4 nieces and nephews. And they're all, it's like a group of 4 kids under 5. So like, they're all relatively like newer babies. So they know what all like the newer technology is and the things that are available and the medications you can give a child at whatever age, versus like my parents, who the last child they were around at baby age was me, and I'm 31. So things have changed. We had a whole team of people. We had a meal train with our friends and family, and people brought us food. But I will tell you, the second I delivered that placenta and the doctor looked me in the eye and she said, "You are no longer pregnant," the amount of relief I felt was just the best thing in the whole world. I immediately felt better. I immediately felt more like myself. I no longer felt nauseous. The other thing I had my whole pregnancy, a lot of women get like a metallic taste in their mouth. I had the fun offshoot of that, which is sour mouth, like bitter mouth. Everything left a nasty bitter taste in my mouth, and I was constantly scraping my tongue because I couldn't eat anything and then not clean my mouth out. It was horrific. When they say that like that first meal after you deliver is the best meal you've ever eaten, it really was the best quesadilla I've ever eaten in my life, because I did not have to immediately run to the bathroom to brush my teeth. It was, I still think about that quesadilla sometimes. But we've adjusted pretty well. I mean, and the thing is, we're really lucky. So I technically have 2 full-time jobs and my husband has a full-time job. He got full 3-month paid paternity leave. One of my jobs gave me full 3-month paternity leave unpaid, but the other gave me full maternity paid. So we went from 3 full-time incomes to 2 full-time incomes. So we did not have to worry about money, which was really, really wonderful. We have excellent health insurance. The whole thing cost me about the whole delivery experience and hospital experience cost me $1,000. That's it. Of course, that was because we met our max out of pocket with our insurance. I'm dragging this way longer than it needs to be probably, but yeah, so we didn't worry about money. We weren't worried about food because people were bringing us food, and we're just really feeling very blessed for the village that we have that took care of us. Not to say that there weren't nights where we were, you know, snipping at each other because he was, you know, going in 1-hour stretches instead of longer, which, you know, every baby does that essentially in the beginning. Somebody's probably going to ask me if I breastfed. The answer is no, for a variety of reasons that are nobody's damn business. But primarily I had a breast reduction and my milk did not come in. They told me it might not when I turned 17 and I had that surgery, and I made that decision then and I stick with it now. I'm happy I didn't. It worked out for us. Formula is great and it exists for a reason. So that has been wonderful and worked really, really well for us. He's growing just fine. He's developing fine. Everything is perfect with him. He did break his collarbone on the way out, which I guess is pretty common, but that healed up no problem and he never showed any discomfort with that. So yeah, we're pretty well adjusted at this point. We both went back to work the same week. I went back a day before my husband did, and daycare is 2 days a week with my in-laws, 2 days a week with my parents, and then I only work 4 days a week now. So Fridays I stay home with Buddy, and it's been really great. Honestly, was I upset when I had to go back to work? Yes. Now that I'm back to work, it's fine. I enjoy being alone, completely alone for like 7 hours a day. highly recommend. But I know for some women it's really, really hard and you don't want to go back, and I understand those feelings. I just really like being alone. But yeah, so we're feeling relatively well adjusted, and the postpartum experience has been the best I could have imagined. A lot of people ask questions about VSG and post weight loss. I did not gain a ton of weight, and near the end I stopped weighing myself because it was triggering for me. I am still about 20 pounds away from where I was when we conceived him, and that's been a bit of an adjustment, mostly because, right, my abdomen looks completely different than it did before I had a baby, and that's normal, but I'm also only 4 months out. And the other thing is that I know some people are gonna like be very shocked by this. Other people are not gonna be very shocked by this. I went ahead and had a tubal ligation. So that means I had my fallopian tubes completely removed in October, and I did it as soon as I was medically cleared to do it. So of course I was not cleared to exercise until 6 weeks postpartum, right? And then you can get a tubal ligation, I think 8 weeks postpartum, and I think mine was actually 10 weeks just because of scheduling. So I was like cleared, which of course the 6 week rule is kind of BS if you ask me. You're healed when your body's healed and it tells you you're ready. So just because it's been 6 weeks doesn't mean you're gonna feel up to whatever. But I did start walking, and then I had my surgery, and then I was on another 2-week hold. So it's been 2 months since I had the surgery, and I'm just, I'm still trying to get back into working out more regularly. I did stretch my stomach out during my pregnancy. I will tell you that right now. Before my pregnancy, I'm trying to think of like a good example of how much I could eat. It was maybe more like 3 to 5 ounces, and now maybe it's like 8 ounces. I maybe almost doubled my stomach capacity, which like 8 ounces is still a small amount of food, but I kind of expected that to happen. Mostly it was probably, I think, because of eating and drinking at the same time. Like I got really lax on that during my pregnancy because I had such a hard time, and I had to constantly eat or my nausea would just absolutely take over my life. It was just a whole process. I'm still struggling with body dysmorphia. I very much have issues with my lower stomach and how I'm dealing with that. I have new stretch marks. I have new skin that hangs, and it's making me, pretty uncomfortable, to be honest. And it's making coming back to YouTube a little bit scarier because I do a lot of fashion content, and I've bought so many cute things that I would love to show you, but I'm not particularly comfortable with how that part of my body looks, and I don't know if I want to put that on film just yet. Let me know if you'd be interested in hauls where I just show the pieces but I don't show them on, or let me know what you think. Maybe I should just say screw it, because every woman that has a baby, a lot of us have bodies that look like mine. And maybe I just need to get over it and embrace that and understand that there are thousands of women that have bodies that look like mine because we delivered children into the world. Let me know what you think about that though. But yeah, so I'm struggling a little bit with the weight loss. I'm struggling with the body dysmorphia. I don't think you just get over body dysmorphia. It is hard. It's really hard for me to think about because I really was in a place where I was really, really happy with my body. And then I got pregnant, which was my choice. We specifically tried, we were actively trying, and I knew this would happen, and it just feels hard to me that like I only got the body that I wished for so long for such a short period. But I'm trying to remind myself that I can get back there. Okay, so the only other questions that were left from my Instagram were mostly concerning upcoming videos and would I be doing hauls for Christmas? Will I be doing any Christmas fashion videos? Black Friday videos? Someone specifically requested my what I got for Christmas this year video. I think I should be able to do that. I'm hoping I have the time to do that. I am taking a good amount of time off for Christmas break. Since I went back to work in a diminished capacity, all is well, man. We're starting to have more of a routine with Beau's naps and bedtime. So it is more likely that I will have more regular times where I could plan to film, and I'm hoping I can do that. I'm not sure what the filming schedule will be like. I'm not sure what the posting schedule will be like, but be sure to follow me on Instagram because I will try to post like when I'm filming or when things are coming out or stuff like that. And I just honestly want to thank everybody for all of your support. This has been the hardest thing I've ever done. And I'm so glad it's over. I knew I was gonna cry. I specifically want to thank Rebecca, my bestie, and those of you that have messaged me throughout my entire pregnancy and postpartum to check in on me. Those of you that I've only ever met online have still made such an impact in my life. And of course, thank you to my family and my husband. I really wasn't sure that I wanted to come back at all because, you know, I have a different life now, and I don't know who's interested in what I've got to offer now. I don't know what I want to put out. I honestly don't know what this channel is going to turn into, but I'm not sure I'm ready to shut the door. So thank you for sticking around. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for being a part of the warrior community. And so if you have video suggestions, things you would like to see, please drop them in the comments below. I hope you all have a very happy holiday season. I love you so much, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.